Oh,
Good morning, everybody in Daily Huddle land. I am your host, Dr. Monikah Ogando, here with Spiritual Matters Thursday. Welcome to the Daily Huddle, and happy first Thursday after Thanksgiving. This is the actual holiday. I don't know what you were doing last week, but today we're celebrating. We are celebrating new beginnings. Our topic for today is gratitude for new beginnings. And so settle in. You've had plenty of time to digest all the crap you put in your body last week and all the triggers with your family and all the fun and all the games and all the things. And today we're going to talk about new beginnings. So welcome, welcome to the Daily Huddle. This really does well to my percussion loving soul. You know, the drum intro, I really love it. So, I'm happy to see you guys again. Thank you so much for coming back to our Thursday ritual, as it were. And so to settle into the now moment, I'm going to ask you the questions that I always ask at the beginning of our time together. So, Tara, I'm going to start with you. How are you, and what are you thankful for?
oh, how am I? I am the way I say I am. And today I must say I am happy.
Yay!
Yeah, simple, clear, and definitely sincere. And what am I grateful for? I'm feeling super grateful this morning for the man I married.
Amen. Give it up for the men we married. That's great. Awesome. Thank you. Rashida, where are you, and who are you hugging today?
Oh my goodness, I am right here where I supposed to be in the Poconos Mountain, back from Costa Rica. Oh, and who I'm gonna hug today? I'm gonna hug for the second time my tree, the tree that I just got out there. It's cold, but I already hugged it this morning, and I intend to hug it again. Trust
You
me,
know what,
it's
Rashida?
it's a connection.
Listen, you talk about that tree like it's our favorite cousin. I'm gonna have to go down there and spend some time with this tree because I
Oh,
feel
I
like I
don't think it's
know
gonna allow
her.
you to. It's not gonna allow you to hug it. You're gonna have to go and find your
Yes.
own tree.
I feel like I know her already. Like I already know her life story. Like she's our favorite relative that lives in Costa
I'm
Rica.
telling you, I miss her. I miss her a whole lot because when I was in Costa Rica, I was hugging another tree, and I guess she was jealous. Thank you so much for asking me the question.
That's awesome. So we were off last week because of Thanksgiving, and I hope that you had a beautiful time off. And in my family, we have a different tradition because we understand that the history of Thanksgiving. We've had to kind of make it our own instead of falling for the okey-doke propaganda of it. And so, of course, it's always a good time to celebrate gratitude. I believe so, anyways. And so, one of the things that we do is that we still have, you know, an amazing dinner, an amazing meal together, and we play games and we hang out with each other, et cetera, et cetera. We put the devices away. This year, we put some money on it to see how long somebody was going to go without having to pick up their device. I'm happy to report that I am $20 richer. um, I kicked butt in Monopoly. But also one of the traditions that we do is that when we're sitting around the eating table, the dining table, the breakfast table, whatever, is that we go around, each person around the table takes a turn to express what they're thankful for, but specifically about each person at the table. And the only rule is that it has to be a genuine statement of gratitude. It can't be like passive aggressiveness. You know what I mean? Like, I'm so thankful that you didn't get to cook this year. No. We're not doing passive aggressive. We're doing genuine gratitude. And so almost every time somebody chokes up, tears up, gets vulnerable, and then it causes a ripple effect, and then other people get vulnerable. And usually what I like to do when I'm in charge of the meal is to get the person who immediately goes there or who most easily goes there to go first, because that sets the context and the stage for everybody else, instead of being like this, sometimes you get around a group of people and sometimes people are really tentative, like, ooh, should I say that? Should I not? Etc. So I like to immediately go to the deep end of the pool so that everybody feels that it is safe to reveal their hearts. And so, so I want to continue that gratitude walk, as it were, with you, because the 2 weeks prior to Thanksgiving, we started a series, you and I. We started a series that started with the gratitude for endings. Then we did the gratitude for limbo, like the middle point, the in-between time. And then we took the last week off for Thanksgiving. And now today, the last part of the series is gratitude for new beginnings. And so you might be wondering, well, why are we ending the series with the new beginnings? And that is because, my darling, every ending, the other side of that coin is a new beginning. And so I have a storied relationship with beginnings. If you know anything about astrology, you know that there are signs that are at the beginning of a season. They're called cardinal signs, and they start stuff. Then there's signs that are at the middle of the season, and they're called fixed signs. They're fixed right in the middle. They don't do well with change. And then at the end of a season, they're the mutable signs. And those are the ones that are most familiar with endings and most familiar with transitions. And they're really good finishers. There are some people, I don't know if you've noticed, there are some people that are really, really good at starting stuff, but then they kind of peter out. Have you noticed this? Do you have people like that in your family? Are you one of them? Grasp your pearls. So there are some people that are really good at beginnings, and they're like gung-ho, and they make a list and they have the ingredients and they're just excited and da-da-da-da. And then when they get going, they're like, wah, 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 and then they don't finish. And then there are folks like me who have a hard time beginning anything. They're like, oh, Lord, getting up in the morning. Oh, Lord, starting a new thing. Oh, good Lord. However, if you start it, I will finish it. We're good finishers. And so we beginners and finishers are good for each other, right? So the new beginnings, the gratitude for new beginnings is an opportunity for you to get clear about your vision. And I was just sharing with a friend of mine last night that when I was deeply in the throes of transformational training, different schools of transformation do it differently, but when I was deep in the throes of transformational training, we used to do what they called a personal strategic plan. And every 90 days, you would say, these are the declarations of achievement that I'm going to have in this particular domain of my life. And it's supposed to stretch you, and it's supposed to, kind of like make you bigger than what you consider yourself, and reach for something that you would ordinarily think would be unachievable or unlikely or even impossible. And the whole point of declaring this publicly and having an accountability buddy for it is that you redesign yourself in such a way that the things that were previously unavailable to you because of your own self-concept, you now have redesigned yourself and stretched yourself to be able to achieve them just on the power of your say-so, right? The power of your word, the power of your vision, the power of your commitment. And I want to bring us back to that feeling. I want to bring us back to that feeling because even though you may have a dominant muscle, like maybe you're a right-handed person and you write better with your right hand, you still have a left. Okay? Don't ignore the left hand. And if you're a left-handed person, you still have a right hand. That doesn't mean that you don't get to use it. And so just because I'm really good at finishing doesn't mean that I don't have a starting muscle. Okay? Don't get that. We still have the ability to begin again and to stay the course and to finish grandly, even if that's not our dominant muscle. So today, let's talk about those new beginnings. Let's talk about how scary sometimes it is, how uncertain sometimes it is. And sometimes one of the reasons why we don't begin again is because, like, oh, here we go again. You know, like that White Snake song says in the 80s. Oh Lord, I'm telling my age. Here I go again on my own. And so I want to talk about it with you. I want to talk about what are some of the new beginnings that you are facing or would like to face. And let's see if we can get a PSP, a personal strategic plan around it, so that you can hit the ground running. And then that way it doesn't have to be so scary. Because one of the reasons we sometimes shy away from big goals is that we don't have it all figured out. And so if you feel like you can't control it, or there are some things that are beyond your control, especially as we get older, we tend to shy away from those things. And I have big, big news for you. Are you ready? You were born not knowing. It's like a function of humanity. You were born not knowing how to do it. All 99% of the things that you do now, you were born not knowing how to do it, and you figured it out. All of it. All of it. You didn't even know how to sit up. You didn't even know how to hold a baby bottle. You didn't even know mama's name. You know her energy, but you didn't know her name. And you figured it all out. And so the idea of like, well, I'm not going to start because I don't know is the sorriest, most unvalidated excuse ever. So I want to get that out, the disclaimer first, and then we can start talking about what are some of the new beginnings that you would like to involve yourself in, so that we can lend you some courage and some, encouragement and be on your team about it. Let's do the talking about it. Rashida, if you're talking, you're muted.
I'm I'm gonna start. I
Okay.
like this. I really like this. And why is because I've been doing the 12-week year, and today is my last day of my second journey of my 12 weeks.
Oh, I love it.
I know, I do love the topic because I am so proud of myself that, trust me, everything that I had on my 12-week year for my second 12 weeks, I achieved it. I came back from Costa Rica yesterday, and into the whole interim of my 12-week year, my goal was to go back to Costa Rica, get my passport, because in January I'm going to Cuba. I'm going to go and visit my ancestors, because I know I have ancestors' root in Cuba, and I'm so proud of myself. So I got my passport, and also in my 12 weeks here, that today is my end of the 12 weeks. I also had in my journey of that 12 weeks was to go and survey some land and stuff like that, because I'm hoping in a healing center in Costa Rica. So I got that done. And for the third of Thanksgiving, I spent all day with my dad, that I was not connected to him for a whole 40 years. So I have a year now that we've been connected. And I'm telling you, is the beginning of going and meet my dad 40 years later, a year ago, and see him for Thanksgiving Day, that we don't celebrate Thanksgiving in Costa Rica.
Yeah, right, exactly.
We don't.
Yeah.
But it was a gratitude have sitting down there and breaking bread with him and resonate, and he carrying his baby, and he rubbing my head. It was just so good.
I love it.
I feel like I was a little girl again. I am so proud of that giving and that gratitude that I was with my dad. But now that I finished my 12-week year, today, I promised myself to take a month off. So the month of December, I'm going to sit down and plan my whole schedule for next year. Most of it, I already have it until May of next year, but I still need to get some planning. I need to get some engineers, and a whole lot of stuff. But trust me, the new beginning for next year is already start.
I'm excited for you.
I am so happy that you took this topic. Thank you so much. I really appreciate knowing that you have a beginning and you have a end. But I trust me, when the end is coming close, I still looking to start something new. So I just keep going, and I will say the saying, I hit the ground running, so nobody can stop me. Thank you so much, Dr. Ogando, for the topic. Thank you so much.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Rashida. You're so inspiring. I'm like, Lord have mercy, what have I been doing with my life? This woman's up in different countries and starting stuff and hugging trees and creating legacies. Lord have mercy, I'm sleeping on the job. So one of the distinctions that I want to make about being thankful for new beginnings is what you're saying, Rashida, in terms of continuing or putting, like stacking the bricks of that legacy, building that strong foundation, right? And that has a very different energetic blueprint or energetic signature than when we start a new thing because we've left something else or we've abandoned another thing and we're avoiding the discomfort of continuing or finishing. That's a very different energetic signature, right? So the new beginnings that we're talking about is about genuinely creating something out of nothing and starting in a way that that supports the larger vision of who you say that you are and the vision for your life. So I thank you for that distinction, Rashida. Florence, you have your hand up. Let's go.
Yes, good morning. Welcome back, Rashida. And I guess I should say happy after Thanksgiving to everyone. But anyway, I would say I have a new beginning because for the last year, I just feel that I've been in a certain place. But then, recently, in the last few days, I began taking control a bit of my financial future. Being more intentional about it and taking certain steps. So, but also one of the new beginnings is about I have all these ideas about things that I want to give to the world, like some invention or whatever. But then I have all these things around it, like oh, how am I going to start this manufacturing? Oh, I need all this money and all of this. And I've just started and even writing like books and so forth. So so the new beginning is taking direct steps now to find out how you go about doing some of these things. Like, okay, even if it's just to Google manufacturing and how you start that, and if it's just I called someone last night, I know that person has published at least one book, I maybe more. So I just thought, you know what, I call her, tell her where did she start from in publishing. And just that for me is, these are big steps, because these are things I had floating around for a long time but never really took real steps towards. So with that, I'm complete.
That's good. That's good that you know that, and that you're taking steps to bring it forth, right? To manifestation. That's awesome. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Who else has something to share, contribute, ask, vent about? What are your new beginnings, or what would you like a new beginning for to be? Yes, Stan.
Well, we just recently started the reading and discussion implementation of Think Like a Winner, a book written back, I think it was maybe about 1990 or something like that, by Dr. Walter Doyle Staples, written on 10 best-selling books. And it's talking about really, really how our self-image has so much to do, has far more to do with the things that we actualize in our life and things that we do and actually the things we actually do, actually perform. It's more to do with that than our actual quote unquote skills or abilities or anything. Way we actually see ourselves on the screen of our minds and the beliefs we hold about ourselves.
Yeah.
So I'm just, attempting to learn more about how to reprogram and use these factors of success, which are the inputs we put into our mind that directly affect how we perform. Even so far as to how our thinking actually even, is connected to our central nervous system. So what we think actually affects our bodies. So yes. So that's it.
Yeah, that's awesome. I like what you're bringing up here because you're right. We cannot out behave our way out of a self identity. In fact,
Of the way you said that. One more time, please.
We cannot out behave our way out of our identity. And in my my first book was called On Fire: 7 Strategies to Ignite Your Business and Light Up Your Life. And in it, I talked about the bear cycle. Now, you can do a bear cycle right now. Just take a piece of paper, put a circle on it, write a circle, and then at the 3 o'clock, put the letter A. That's your actions. That's your behavior, as it were. At the 6 o'clock position, put the letter R. Those are your results. And at the 9 o'clock position, put the letter E, and that's your experience, right? So you take a certain action, that action creates a certain result, and that result generates a particular experience of yourself, of the environment around you, of people, of love, of fitness, of whatever, right? Whatever concept you're working with. And that's, people think that's who you are. Therefore, that's the ARE, right? That's like, you are your results, you are your experience, you are your accumulation of those behaviors, etc. But the thing that people are forgetting is at the 12 o'clock position, there's a B, and that stands for belief. That stands for a belief specifically, to your point, Stan, about your self-identity. And that is why somebody who believes themselves to be a healthy or even an overachieving athlete, for example, somebody who perhaps, I'm thinking specifically of Lewis Howes, who runs a very famous podcast and has written some books, and he used to be a professional football player. Tall guy, very just, you could tell that he was a sports guy, right? So with that identity, you go to the gym, that's the action, to work out, and you have a very specific result. You don't have this idea of like, oh, I'm not gonna lose weight and it just doesn't work for me and blah, blah, blah. You're an athlete. This is conditioning. This is just you doing more of who you already are. So your result is, and your experience of that is very different than if, for example, for me, when I first started my health journey, I considered myself, I'm just a middle-aged woman I just want to lose a couple pounds. I just want to fit into a dress. I just want to, not be like sloppy. Like the bar was really low, right? And so I wasn't as disciplined. I wasn't as well educated. I just wanted a particular experience. I wasn't interested in the actions or the results. And so a lot of times what happens is, because of that identity, even though you're taking the same action, going to the gym, working out, eating well, doing your protein shakes and your smoothies and your vitamins and your blah, 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 you are getting a different result. Because, notice the clock, the B and the R are opposite of each other. They reflect each other. They are mirrors of each other. So your results mirror your identity, your beliefs. And so if your belief is that I can't do it, your results are like, so be it. Right? And then what happens is you start feeling and thinking a particular way. That's your experience, right? And that experience either supports or pivots that belief. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah, really.
So that's the bear cycle of your own consciousness, right? That it's like, so where do you where's the fulcrum? Where do you make the biggest difference? The biggest difference, the fulcrum of shifting that transformation is really at the belief level. It's not at the action. That's just behavior modification.
I like that. So
Yeah.
two can have the exact same actions, but get totally different results because they're not believing the same. Wow.
Exactly. So There's a little nugget for you. That book is out of print, by the way. If you go to Amazon and you try to find my On Fire book, you can't get it. You have to get it through me because there's only 10 copies of that book, and they're sitting in my basement right now.
Are you still selling them? Are you
The book is out of print.
people?
I could be convinced to part with one or two. I don't know.
Well, I'd like to convince you.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
I'm going to twist your wrist to let them go.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, the information keeps coming, right? Like,
and I need one mastermind stand. I second the motion with you.
Yes.
So we're gonna go fighting with her. You twist one hand and I twist the other hand.
Okay.
Chase just put in the chat he wants to get one too.
Make that 3. Oh Lord. Make that. Listen, put your emails on the chat.
Okay.
Private message me and I'll see what we can do about it. All right, very good. So the new beginning conversation. I'm a teacher at heart and I love giving homework. So here's what I am going to challenge us all to do. When I was doing my grad school work in organizational psychology, one of the distinctions that I came across, which has always stayed with me, has been the idea of repaving and pre-paving. Repaving is when you go back to the road that you've already traveled, like your past, and you repave it to bring you to a desired present moment. So sometimes that's memory alteration processes. Sometimes it's inserting a new emotional blueprint or signature to that experience so that you can feel a different way about it. Sometimes you remember something that's really sad. When you repave it, you insert some joy and some release in it so that it doesn't feel as painful and so forth. And then there's pre-paving. Pre-paving is going towards the future. I want you to imagine that instead of today being December 1st, instead of it being November 30th, 2023, that it's November 30th, 2024. Okay, 12 months from today. What are some of the things that if you were to boast that you accomplished them, if you were to report even, let's not use the word boast, but if you were to report here to our Daily Huddle family that you've accomplished them, that you traveled to that country, that you published that book, that you launched that business, that you took that trip, that you married that person, or that you divorced that person, or that you had the baby, or that you went to the celebration of graduation, or whatever the mile marker is, that you did it. I want you to write it down, journal it, or like as if you're writing to all of us. You guys, you'll never believe what happened. Oh my God, this is and you're reporting it as though it already happened. You're reporting it as though you already accomplished it. You're on the other side of losing that weight. You're on the other side of having that marriage. You're on the other side of having published that book. It's a fait accompli, it's a done deal. I want you to give yourself the gift of that pre-paving homework, because whatever it is that you live in the physical realm happens first in your imagination. And if you can get really clear about what that vision is and how it feels, how it tastes, what it looks like, what it sounds like, the energetic, kind of like vibe of it, and you can get really familiar with it, your subconscious does not know the difference between real, quote unquote, real or imagined. And so when you begin to just harp on the imagination of this thing as an already done deal, your subconscious will get really busy about making it so. You and I have talked about how when you ask the subconscious a question, it will give you an answer. So if you're asking the question, why am I always broke? Why doesn't things work out for me? The subconscious is like, oh, let me tell you how. But if you ask the question, well, why does everything work out for me? Why is this so easy? Different question. Still, the subconscious will go find you an answer. So that's why I say that questions are the creative acts of intelligence, because depending on the kind of question that you ask, you will get a different answer from the universe and from your subconscious. So are you game? Will you do the pre-paving exercise with me? Put a 1 in the chat if you're game for the pre-paving exercise, and I'll make sure to follow up with you about it. And thank you again for being here with us. One more Daily Huddle Thursday, Spiritual Matters. I so appreciate you. Remember, of course, always to love generously, laugh loudly. It's contagious. Give of your time, your energy, your attention, your love. Exercise, move your tail feather. Remember that twerking is a Kundalini raising exercise for your consciousness. Make sure that you are eating more plant-based, that you stress less, that you get at least 7 to 8 hours of sleep a night. And of course, always check yourself before you wreck yourself. Audit your assumptions. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. Have a great rest of your day.
One love, guys. One love.
Thank you all, Dr. Monikah.
Thanks, everybody.